And one of the other pieces of paper that you've got on your desks looks something like, looks something like this. And what we've done is we've tried to put together a sort of a reflective planning tool which asks the questions which are sort of on the screen at the moment. This is not a conventional development plan or improvement plan. It's more a sort of a way of reflecting upon the dynamics of leadership, the dynamics of change and transformation in the way that we've been talking about it this morning. And I'm going to ask you for the next sort of 25 minutes to reflect as a school on these questions. What are the preconditions? What do you have to have in place? How do you organize for improvement? What are the key strategies that you're using to raise achievement? How does professional learning take place? And then, having done those things, how do you change and develop the culture of your school? And then at the end of that, to actually ask yourself some questions using a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, as to sort of how effective is your own approach to improvement. Now, we don't have, we could take all day to work through that. We don't have time to work through it all this afternoon. But I would like you to have it will take, as I say, about 25 minutes to have a good stab at this initially. And then, Lena, you're going to take those in and photocopy those again. And we're going to give those back to the regional network leaders. And the next sort of round of conversations you have with those people will be based upon that plan. So it's more of a way of trying to order your thinking around the discussions we've been having this morning and over lunch. And just a word of warning when you're filling out the form or responding to it. I think the questions are actually quite. The questions are sound as if they're sort of non-specific, like what are the preconditions of an improvement in a school. That's not an exam question. That's about your school. All right. So contextualize your responses to the questions. Is that is that okay? Is that clear? You happy about that? And then I'm going to just engage us in some discussion on some specific issues for the remaining hour of the afternoon. Now, I want to just round off the day by having a bit of discussion about two or three fairly sort of important areas where we may want to develop a discussion about professional practice. And they're contained in the slides that you've got, and I've alluded to them at the start of the day. I'm not going to go through a sort of a conventional session on each of these points, but what I want to try and do is to explore the territory a little bit, and then to sort of get a feeling from you as to whether you would like us to begin to facilitate a deeper discussion on them in the sort of the mode of working that I've been trying to describe today. So not that someone comes in and gives you a lecture, but we try to create a sort of an opportunity to develop professional practice in these areas. And the two I particularly want to have a look at are teaching and learning, first of all, and then performance management. And then perhaps we may say a word or two about managing change right at the end of the afternoon. So I'm just going to lead us through a little bit of a debate on this, and I'm going to try and challenge you a little bit about where you think your schools are on these various issues. So let me, first of all, talk a little bit about teaching and learning. And on the screen there are the sort of the core activities which seem to relate to highly effective schools. These are the core leadership activities which relate to highly effective schools. And we've obviously talked a lot about this during the day. We've talked about the notion of vision and setting direction. We talked about how we develop the organisation, the creation of systems. And I want to just focus a little bit on the teaching and learning and developing people point here.